We've all heard of the phrase buy cheap, buy twice, but in this case at West Ham, it might be buy cheap, buy thrice, because we're now on to our third manager in Nuno after making the same mistake twice while trying to do it on the cheap in Lopetegui and Graham Potter. And that phrase feels applicable. It feels like it explains what's happened at West Ham and why we are now on our third manager in 16 months post David Moyes. But the reality is we didn't buy either of those. And the harsher truth in reality is, they certainly weren't cheap. We took the free agent in Lopetegui and lost a substantial amount of money in doing so. And you would like to think most people would go, okay, I'm going to learn from my mistake. An expensive lesson. But not at West Ham United. We decided to repeat the process again. We hired another free agent in Graham Potter and we've gone and lost a substantial amount of money. Now we're on to our third manager, our third free agent. Now, arguably, it goes beyond that. David Moyes was a free agent, but let's just say the third one post David Moyes. However, Nuno's different. And the reason he's different is because most managers like Potter, like Lopetegui, most managers that are unemployed and they've been sacked is due to results, due to performances. That's not why Nuno was available. That's not why he was a free agent. Let's just call it politics at Nottingham Forest. We all know why Nuno was sacked. We all know why Nuno was unhappy. He was available. But he wasn't available due to performing badly at Nottingham Forest. He performed well. They finished 7th last season. His stock is high. His reputation is good. We've got a good manager at a good time as far as I'm concerned. We got lucky Nuno was available when he was, in my opinion. So I'm happy with the appointment at Nuno. Even though financially it's similar to the hires of Potter and Lopetegui, it doesn't feel like the same to me. It feels different. It feels like we've got a good manager. Put it this way, if he was in the job at Nottingham Forest and we went and poached him from Nottingham Forest, I think I'd still been okay with the hire of Nuno. I'd have been like, okay, that's good. We've paid compensation for the manager at last, and we've gone and got someone that took Nottingham Forest to 7th in the league. I would have been happy. So I'm pleased with that. But Nuno's time at West Ham will be impacted by the hires and the failures of Graham Potter and Lopetegui. So why am I discussing this today? Because Sean Whetstone's done a tweet. Now, Sean, I think, gets really good information. I think he's really reliable for putting information out there. I guess what's interesting with this is it's been reported widely that people at the club aren't speaking to other people. So where's he got this information from? Are people now speaking out from the club? Or is he making it up? I don't think Sean would do that. I disagree with a lot of what Sean does. I think he's good at what he does. I just don't always like what he does, if that makes sense. Anyway, this is Sean's tweet. West Ham could fork out as much as 20 million in compensation for Lopetegui and Potter when accounts are released late December or early January. The cost of disposing of Tim Steidten, Lopetegui and his backroom team, plus paying compensation to Chelsea for Macaulay, is estimated to have reached 10 million. The cost of disposing of Graham Potter, his staff and more recently Kyle Macaulay could cost another 10 million on the assumption they don't land similar roles with other clubs quickly. This 20 million financial hole comes at a difficult time for West Ham, and it goes on to say the Hammers are set to announce a record 100 million losses for last season this December when accounts are published at Companies House. This season will be severely financially challenging too, with the cost of disposing of two managers, the summer transfer spending under Potter, and the need to back Nuno in January to ensure Premier League survival. And he goes on to talk about PSR and about how they might be switching over. Now, I'm going to talk about basically Sean's tweet. The good thing about this is that line there, and the need to back Nuno in January to ensure Premier League survival. So if this is coming from someone at the club, in a weird way, that's quite good because they're talking about they have to back him in January, which I agree with. And I find that line slightly reassuring because they could go get someone in on loan. Arguably, that's backing Nuno. They could spend 40 million on two different players. That's also backing Nuno. So backing Nuno is very subjective. What does that mean? But it's good. I like it. So it's very difficult to verify this information, to back up these claims. It's going to cost West Ham 20 million. Lopetegui's slightly easier than Graham Potter because no one knows the exact situation with Graham Potter. However, there could be good news for West Ham in the next few days regarding Potter himself, because he's been chatting and has given me reassurances, assuming we've put him on gardening leave rather than paying him a load of money to do one kind of thing. But the one thing I will pick up on what Sean's put out here, he's speaking about the compensation for Lopetegui and Graham Potter in the accounts. The one thing he doesn't mention is it's two separate different accounts. So certainly, when the accounts come out in late December, it runs up until the 31st of May 2025. In that period, 24-25, Lopetegui was sacked. Graham Potter wasn't sacked until very recently, which is the set of accounts for June 25 until the end of May 26. So Graham Potter's sacking won't be in this set of accounts. It will be there. It will say how much it's cost, but it won't actually be hitting the bottom line until next set of accounts, so that makes sense. Also, for PSR, Potter's sacking won't count towards PSR for the year we're in now. So the January transfer window, Potter's sacking has absolutely no impact until like the following set of PSR accounts. Does that make sense? Lopetegui and Potter's sackings are in two different sets of accounts for PSR. Right, hopefully that makes sense. So let's take a look at Lopetegui's team. There was himself. He also had Pablo Sanz, Oscar Caro. He also had Juan Vicente Pinado, Borja de Alba, and Edu Rubio. They all left when Lopetegui done. But here's the thing we do know. Lopetegui cost 3.3 million to sack. There was a clause in his contract that if we wanted to sack him, it would cost us 3.3 million. So he himself got that. So when Sean's claiming that it could cost 10 million for Steidten, Lopetegui, his staff, and Macaulay, well, we know Macaulay compensation was $1 million, so that takes up to 4.3 million. So has it really cost 5.7 million to sack Steidten and his backroom team? Probably not. I don't think his backroom team would have been on that much money. I had a little Google to see roughly how much Premier League coaches are on, and it varies depending on what source you use. But let's just say 10 million. Okay, we'll go with that one kind of thing. Right, before we take a look at Graham Potter, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. Now, if you are looking to keep your private data private, you probably want to consider getting a VPN for your electronic devices. We've got an offer for you with Surfshark where you get 4 months free. All you have to do is go to surfshark.com/hammerschat. Links in description below, and you will automatically get the 4 months free credited to your account, credited to your basket. It's as simple as that. But my favourite thing is changing the location of your device. It is frustrating when you see something available to watch in a different country. So it's there. It exists. It's on the internet. You can watch it. Actually, you can't. Why not? Because you live in the UK or wherever it is you live. So you want to watch something in a different country, but you can't watch it purely because of where you're from. Surfshark gets rid of that barrier. On your device, you can change the location at a couple of clicks of a button. Simple as that. If you use a website that requires you to verify your age and you can't be bothered doing it, you don't want to do it, it's simple. Go on Surfshark, change your location to a country that doesn't require that verification, and you can access that website just like you did previously. Happy days. It's that simple. And if you don't believe me, you can give it a try risk-free. Not for free, risk-free. So you join up to Surfshark using surfshark.com/hammerschat. You download the app, you sign in, download the app on all your devices as well. You get unlimited devices under one account. You pay once, one account, unlimited devices. Then you can change the location. Ta-da! You think, hey, Gio was right. It's that simple. It is a couple of clicks of a button. But if you find you don't like it, if you find that it doesn't happen, it will happen, you can get a full refund within 30 days because Surfshark comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in description below. If you want a VPN, if you want that extra layer of security, or you just like the perk of being able to change your location of your device, then go to surfshark.com/hammerschat. Right, Graham Potter. This was his staff. He had Bruno, he had Billy, he had our set-piece guru in Narcissus Palach, he had the goalkeeping coach in Casper Ankergen, and he also had his other goalkeeping coach in Linus Kandolin. They all went at the same time as Potter. But here's the thing. If we've basically put Potter on gardening leave, which is the norm for a lot of sackings, Lopetegui was different because he had a clause, so we just paid it, off he went. because it would have saved us money if Lopetegui didn't pick up a new job, it would have cost us more money for Lopetegui. So we saved a bit of money on Lopetegui's contract. But with Potter, if we are still paying him as we normally do, and he's effectively still employed by West Ham, he just sat there on gardening leave, and then when he picks up another job, he cancels his contract with us and he takes up that. Well, if that's the situation, then we might be away to have a little bit of a boosty bonus at West Ham, because Graham Potter is strongly linked to the Swedish job at the minute. After getting sacked by Chelsea, he bought a house for over $1.5 million in Sweden, and he's there currently. And when he's speaking about the Sweden job, he basically said that he loves Sweden, he's very interested in the Swedish football, and he said, I'm in a very good position financially. It's gotten to the point where I don't have to consider finances as a reason to take a job or not. He wants that Sweden manager job. So fingers crossed he takes it and it saves us a few quid. Now, in regards to trying to verify the £20 million claim, we can't really use David Moyes because he didn't get sacked. But what we can do is use Pellegrini. Now, at the time, just before we sacked him, there was a lot of rumours going around. It would cost $15 million to sack Pellegrini and his staff. That's the rumours going around, that if we were to sack Pellegrini and all his team, which was this, it would cost West Ham $15 million. So there was Pellegrini, there was Ruben Kuselas, Enzo Maresca, obviously Chelsea manager. Now, we didn't sack him. He ended up quitting because we wanted to keep him. So we sacked Pellegrini and the rest of them, and we actually kept Maresca and offered him a job under David Moyes, which he didn't want, and he ended up leaving West Ham, so we didn't pay any compensation for Maresca. Then we had Jose Cabello, Felix Cao, and also Mario Huselos was his sort of head of recruitment at the time, and there was a couple of other staff, Mario Huselos Jr., for example. Well, the good thing is, we can go back and have a little look and see exactly how much it cost to sack Pellegrini because of those accounts. So I went on and had a little look this morning just out of interest. Did it actually cost $15 million to sack Pellegrini? The answer is no. It cost $3.5 million. So this is on the official accounts at West Ham United. As you can see there at the very bottom, termination payments totaling $3.5 million were paid during the year following the change of first team management and scouting staff. So to sack Pellegrini, his coaching team, Huselos, his son, there's some, was Pellegrini's son there as well? I can't recall. But anyway, we sacked a lot of them. $3.5 million it cost. So when a club were claiming it would cost $15 million, they were telling a little porky pie. It cost, I say a little one, it's quite a big one, weren't it? It actually cost us $3.5 million. But one thing I will agree with is this is a very, very expensive mistake. And I appreciate I'm sort of preaching to the converted here that, like, why don't we just pay compensation for the manager and get the right manager, and hopefully it works out and we don't have to sack him, and actually it would have saved us money in the long run. But if the club are expecting it to have cost $20 million to sack Lopetegui and to sack Graham Potter, and let's just let's be very kind here and deduct $2 million for Tim Steidten, because Tim Steidten, I will say that I don't think was a Sullivan or a Brady appointment. I think it was a Daniel Kutinsky one. So let's just remove the blame of Steidten's cost from them. So it's 18 million according to Sean. That is a lot of money. You could have got whoever you thought was the perfect manager to take over from David Moyes, and with the assumption, and it's a bold assumption, it worked out, we would have spent a hell of a lot less than 18 million. So buy cheap, buy twice, buy thrice. Actually, at West Ham, it's worse than that. It's hire for free, and it costs you 18 million quid. Doesn't quite have the same ring, of course. And hopefully Nuno bucks that trend. Now, evidence would suggest it won't, because of A, the board's performance with managers, but also B, Nuno's tendency to fall out with some clubs, let's just call it that. This is probably going to be another short-term hire. My prediction is next summer, as in summer 27, so a year and a half's time, that's maybe when things perhaps will go pear-shaped and he'll leave. But that's just a prediction. Hopefully I'm wrong and it works out and he's here for a little while. Fingers crossed. Because we can't afford to make these mistakes. And here's the thing. Let's just say Nuno kept us up, but he decided at the end of the season, I'm going to leave. Right? He leaves. Doesn't cost us anything. He leaves. Resigns. We'll do the same thing again. We won't learn from this £20 million mistakes, plural, 2 of them. we won't learn. We'll go hire again from the free agent pool and repeat the process. And then they'll sit there and wonder why we're skint, plead poverty, as if it's someone else's fault. And I think that's the thing that frustrates me. It's a lack of accountability. It's almost like, well, we've got no money because look at all these expenses. Yeah, your mistakes. We're skint because of what you've done. We're skint because of the mistakes you've made. And not only have you made the mistake and learnt your lesson, you didn't do that. You made the mistake and repeated it. And I think Sullivan would be kicking himself because he didn't want Graham Potter. It was Brady that wanted him, and he listened to her, let her sort of win, if you like, and hire Potter, and then he's had to sack him. He'll be sat there thinking, bloody hell, why did I do that? Well, that's that logic, that mentality, that thinking, apply it to the hiring of Lopetegui, because that's what West Ham fans thought. Why did you do that? They need to learn. Now, hopefully Nuno's here long term, but the reality is, even if you have big expectations and big hopes, he's going to be here for 3 years at the most. His contract's got 2.5 years on it. Let's just say he fulfills that. We're going to be in the situation, whether it's summer 26, 27, 28, we're going to have to hire again, right? They need to learn from this mistake. Now, hopefully they won't be here and we'll have a different board doing it, but they need to learn from their mistakes. This needs to change. Now, the one thing I will finish up on is regarding Nuno's coaching team. I did a video yesterday, and it was quite funny, actually. Let me strip it back to a very simple example. Sometimes you'll have an opinion and you'll share it, and some people will agree with you and some people will disagree with you. So if I was to say, I want to see Callum Marshall start up front against Brentford, may or may not be true, tune into the preview, but it's an example. In the comments, I would expect some people saying, I agree, start Marshall, give him his chance. I would expect some people to disagree and say, no, start Callum Wilson, start Lucas Paqueta, start Jared Bowen up front. And that's fine. Disagreeing is normal. I like it. I like reading things. Sometimes subscribers change my mind on stuff. I see things differently. So I did the video yesterday about Nuno's backroom team, or lack of it. And I had people tell me I've been way too positive, right? You're far too positive. This is a really bad thing. And I had people saying, you're way too negative. This is a really good thing. And actually, normally I get frustrated. If that happens, I think, oh my God, because no one's understanding. But actually, yesterday, I think most people understood. And I seen it as a good thing. Because I'm neither very positive or very negative about it. But I just wanted to clarify, because there was a lot of misunderstandings. I think it's a wonderful thing that we've promoted from within. I think it's a wonderful thing that if you come to West Ham United as a coach and you join the academy, that one day you may get promoted into the first team, into a really senior position at the football club. I think that's a wonderful thing to have. And also, if Nuno, say, had his own team, my ideal is Nuno has some of his own team and some of the academy team promoted. And when Nuno disappears, those academy ones stay. So if Nuno left tomorrow, Robson, Penderville, Lepine and Potts all remain. New head coach comes in, brings in his team, works with those four going forward. That would be my ideal. So I can see the positives in it. But I can also see the concern in it as well, which is, well, because some have suggested, well, this is what Nuno wants. And it might be, I don't know, yous don't know. We just have to guess. We have to form an opinion. We have to guess. But the reason you won't convince me that this is 100% what Nuno wants is because in his entire managerial career so far, he's had some of those people with him. Some at 4 out of 6 clubs. Some 3. And Antonio was literally at every single one of them. So I find it difficult that he's had these same people at these clubs and suddenly he comes to West Ham and goes, you know what, I don't want them anymore. You will not convince me that that's the case. I just think there's a reason they're not here yet. It might be because they've said to Nuno, the ones at Nottingham Forest, there's 3 of them, have said, wait, Andrew's excluded us, things aren't going well, we're going to get sacked soon, let's get our payoff, then we'll come to West Ham, you don't have to give them any money. It might just be that. I expect Nuno to hire 1 or 2 people over the next few weeks. I expect him to hire his own people and bring them into the club. And then we'll have what I would consider to be the perfect blend and the perfect mix. So usually, when some people are saying I'm too negative and some people are saying I'm too positive, I get frustrated. I'm like, people haven't understood. I've pitched it wrong. But actually, yesterday's video, I thought, well, this is right. Because I'm not 100% cheering that this is a brilliant thing. But I'm also not 100% thinking this is a terrible thing. I'm actually bang in the middle. And it's not because I'm sat on the fence or undecided. I can see positives in hiring staff from the academy and they're being part of his team going forward. But I can also see the concern as to why he wouldn't have his own team with him. I can see both things. And both things can be true. You don't have to be 100% positive. You don't have to be 100% negative. You're allowed to be a little bit of both. And I think that's where I am with his coaching team. I am relaxed at the minute. And it's funny because some of those suggesting I was being negative, I can't remember what one of the things was. Literally a few days ago, there was a video went up on the forum channel where I'm saying I'm 80% confident we will stay up. So I can only assume that person is 90%, 100% confident we'll stay up. And that's great for him, but I don't have to change my feelings or opinions because that person doesn't agree with it. Make your own minds up. It's very, very important. I think in this day and age, now more than ever, there's people saying, this is my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, that's that. And I think that's wild. Anyway, don't know why I've ended up in that. I was going to clarify about the Nuno thing, which is I'm positive and negative. But what I would say is just please never assume. There was one yesterday said, I can't believe you don't think it's a good thing promoting staff. I literally never said quite the opposite. I said Mark Robson CV's really good. I'm pleased he's part of it. I never said anything negative towards promoting the coaching staff from the academy into Nuno's team. Not one thing, because I'm not negative about it. Just don't assume. Anyway, bit of a ramble at the end there. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're still with me and you've put up with that nonsense in the last few minutes, thank you very much. Please do drop a like on it before he disappears. Sky and Hammers chat. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow. It's nearly time for doing the Brentford content. I'm looking forward to it, actually. Been a good international break for me, but I'm ready for the club football back now. This is a big 4 games coming up for West Ham. A big 4 games coming up for Nuno. A big 4 games coming up for the promoted academy staff. Don't know, and perhaps naively, I've got a bit of a good feeling about it. Do I think we'll win all 4? No. If we get 7 points, I'm happy. And I think we might manage that. That will be a good return over the next 4 games. I'm looking forward to West Ham being back. And also, the fact it's a Monday and they can't ruin my weekend, that always helps as well.